Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of TechCondo. My name is Petra. I really appreciate you for taking the time on your busy Saturday to, be here live and direct. Yes, we have some really cool stuff to talk to you about today. By the way, my name is Petra from Bergen, as you can see here below. If you have any questions during the stream about, ATEMs, vMix, audio, whatever you want, you can always ask the question during the stream. We're going to do a little bit different today. I'm going to explain to you why in just a bit, but first and foremost I want to say hello to some people. Let me check if everything is fine in this area. Yes, it is. So let's talk. Let's start with some comments that I got. Now, unfortunately, during the countdown timer, I did see that I maybe occasionally did a mistake, but hey, there you go. MT is in the house, of course, like always, with what a fancy 1ME control board. Now I'm jealous, indeed, I am also jealous about your builds, MT, so don't worry that much about it. We're all trying to up the game a little bit, and this is just the way it goes. I did do quite some changes to my setup because it was an HU rack, and like you, it was so unbelievably heavy that I really needed to remove a lot of things off the HU rack, and especially because I don't own a big truck or something. I basically only own a nice Fiat 500 electric, which is not the biggest car, I can tell you, but with 4U it's definitely better to achieve, and also if it's 2x 4U, it's definitely better than 1x HU because of the size of it and because of the handling, etc. But it's really going very well, and we will talk about the new setup in just a bit. Going back to what MT says, that he has a Constellation 2ME like I do as well, a HyperDeck Plus like I do as well, not in the 4U rack, by the way. I am then using a HyperDeck Mini, but definitely also a web presenter, also converters, yes, also 3 of them, and the power is all done via a network switch is all PoE. So that is something cool. I also see a lot of people joining. I see on TV channels. Welcome. Really appreciate you for being here. Shane is also in the house. Welcome. Gerard also, of course, like always, from Stuttgart. Welcome. And on TV channel says, do you have you got a new sponsor, Petra? Well, yes and no, right? So I'm trying to, so I have some help, definitely, but sponsoring wise, it's, not that big. So I'm trying to do it with my own earned money as good as I can. By the way, everything that you see today is not sponsored by another company. It's purchased by myself or with a little help from, my dad maybe. Then I see Arul also in the house. Welcome. Really appreciate you for taking the time to be here. I also saw that Eric is in the house, all the way from Rochester, New York. Looking to find the comment. Where is it? Here it is. So welcome from Rochester, New York. Eric, you might know, but I have lived very close to Rochester, New York, in a place called Fairport, together with my parents. So Fairport, New York, great place to be. Let me see. Do I have other comments that I wanted to talk about? Nils was making a comment about the music. He likes it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your feedback on that one. And yeah, indeed. I also saw that sometimes I made a mistake. Oops. For you, definitely somewhat easier to carry up and down the stairs, at least if it's not too dense. Yeah, I totally agree with that statement, even though it is quite dense. it's jam-packed, to be more honest towards you. Like I wanted to do more often to you, is that I want to give you a little bit of a context on what you can expect and how things are organized within the studio. So just for the sake of clarity, I am using vMix, and here you see but basically what I am going to use for today's show. I'm going to use a iPhone for maybe to show you some cool things that are going on with the new setup that I have right there, right here. I'm doing that via my iPhone 14 Pro together with an NDI app. Next to that, of course, in the main camera, you see a A6400 with a Sigma lens, and it's all brought in via NDI into the Lenovo Legion 5 Pro. Also, of course, the audio is still going via the Go XLR, which is a trustworthy setup. I did fiddle around a little bit today with my audio because I was not happy with it since I've moved from the PC to the laptop. But I think that I've dialed it in right now, and I'm very happy and pleased with the result. So here you go. That is what you can expect roughly from a technical standpoint, but that's not how I do my gigs. So let me just explain to you what, for me, again, the differences between vMix as a way to have a program and the ATEM setup that I have right there again. For me, it's really important to tell you that if I'm doing it all by myself, so which means that I am the host of the show, I'm also switching everything around, and I want to play videos, etc. I want to keep it as easy as possible with the least amount of different components, and because of that, I love vMix. I can do whatever I please with vMix. I can create all kinds of macros. We call it the triggers, for example, within the vMix. But we can do quite a lot of functionality with that moving forward. We can actually even script a lot of condensed coding to make things happen in vMix. It also has multiple MEs, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 15 MEs at your disposal in just one piece of kit. Typically, I'm not using vMix as the streaming setup for gigs, apart from maybe overlays, playing videos, and for the replay option. So with replay, I do want to have vMix because that is by far the easiest way of making sure that it's possible. And so that's the way that I typically would do that. So I will just split up the cameras to the ATEM switcher and to vMix, and then perform the replay functionality in vMix and push it back to the ATEM as an end result. So that gives you a little bit of a context on why I'm doing this via vMix. Now, why am I doing it via ATEMs? The ATEM switcher, I really strongly believe that it is always better and more robust if you keep your feature set to a minimum and make it shine. So what I mean by that is that there's a switcher, the 2ME Constellation HD switcher. It only switches. And it does a fantastic job at that without delay. It's really good at that functionality. There's another studio that only has one key focus. It's just pushing fill and key towards the ATEM switcher, which means that key is generally information on what is transparent and what is not, and fill is what you see as a viewer. Then we also have the web presenter that only has one thing, and that's streaming towards the web, but with monitoring functions built in so that you really can see what is going on. Do I have an issue? Is there an issue coming up, for example? So those are the reasons why I really want to go with the hardware route, just for the sake of making sure that everything is good to go, it's professional, and it will be working perfectly. I do see a good question, and I did not do it yet, but on TV channels, I will definitely post a flowchart of my setup. Excellent question, by the way. But I also want to use this video, this stream, to go over the high end, just to give you a generic overview of it's all about. And once I've done that, I will use the next couple of weeks, months, to really dial in into one of the components. For example, the advanced panel. One full show about the advanced panel, going very much in depth in that one. Ultra Studio, going very much in depth in that one. Web Presenter, going very much in depth in that one. Moving on to how to connect with vMix and the companion software to do the super source of things. So there will be multiple videos coming your way with the intent to make it very easy for you, depending on not even to first know which components you're interested in. So it's for you as a viewer interesting to say, hey, this is the one that I'm really interested in. This one is a little bit less interesting for me because I know everything about it. But my end goal is that by the end of roughly this year, this month, next year, that if you have maybe like 10 or 12 videos, then you should be able to perform good, small production, streaming productions with multi-cameras, etc. That's my end goal, to be honest. Raul says, I'm still waiting for my ATEM 2ME HD. It's taking forever. That's too bad. Most likely because of software or hardware components, maybe. That is really bad. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Okay. And indeed, that is definitely the case, Eric. Fairport, New York is a canal town. Yes, absolutely. Anyways, let's go on. So what I did earlier today is that I created a video. I wanted to make sure that the video was good and clear, to the point. Also, at the moment, I'm still dialing in a few components. We can talk about that. So I have a video about the setup with audio, and we will be talking about that in just a minute. I am running it via my phone, unfortunately, but I wanted to do it a little bit of a different way, but you know how things go, right? So without further ado, let's dive into it right now. Okay, jumping into the recording. This is the mobile setup that I have in front of me. This is the mobile setup that I'm going to use for example, conferences, for concerts, for cultural events, for events in more generic terms. What you don't see at the moment is that I will have like 3 PTZ cameras available. So there will be an additional joystick besides these units with control, but that's for a later set. And another thing is that I am now currently using one screen, but I actually have to use 2 screens to be fully operational. But as you can see, space is a bit of a problem in my studio, so I have to deal with what I have in store for you today. Now, let's talk about what the main components are. And the heart of everything is, of course, this 4U rack right here. And if you look at the 4U rack, I will go like this. This is the heart of everything. This is the 20 inputs Constellation HD2ME switcher by Blackmagic. Why is this so important to me? Not only about the 20 inputs, because I could maybe do with less than that, but definitely what is really interesting on this 2ME switcher is that I can actually make a distinction between what I send out to program and what I will project on local screens. And that is really important. It's called iMac for people that do know what I'm talking about, but I really can do whatever I please with this system right here. I'm really happy with that. And below that, you see 2 rows of what looks like Terraneck Minis. Not really always the case, because this is a Ultra Studio. This will allow for key and fill from this laptop right here, the HP Omen from 2019. Here in the center we have the old HyperDeck Studio Mini, which is still great. It also allows for a key and fill, which is great. For example, I can use this for running stingers, for example. That is one of the use cases I'm thinking about, but I can also make use of it for local recording purposes. Then I've got the web presenter. Of course, with the web presenter, I can go to Facebook, to YouTube, to whatever I please. So that is really cool with this component here. This is the HD model, like the Constellation HD as well. And then we've got 1, 2, 3 converters from SDI to HDMI. And this one is not in use at the moment. You will see that it's not going to go powered on. That's this one right here. These two are working, and these two are actually converting Multiview 1 and Multiview 2 to HDMI. Currently, in this setup, I can only use Multiview 1, but if I'm on location, I will have 2 screens, so Multiview 1 and Multiview 2. This one I will most likely use for the web presenter. However, at the moment, I'm running into some issues that this router, this PoE router, cannot handle all of the power. So basically, it was either the advanced panel or this one right here. I'm choosing the advanced panel, obviously. Anyway, that is the 4U rack right here, a network switch. This is not on the internet. That's very important to me. So everything that you see here is not on the network, on the internet, apart from this one right here, the web presenter. That one is on the internet. All of the other stuff is not on the internet. So let's go ahead and talk about the setup for the most part. So this computer is currently set up to perform administrative tasks, like, for example, ATEM software. In the future, also X32 Behringer software for the audio, which will be in a separate 4U case. It will also be used for vMix for key and fill functionality. That's what I'm going to show you in just a bit. And basically, this is a really important device right here. And then, of course, this is such a game changer, the advanced panel 1ME. You can go from 1ME to 2ME with just one button. It's really a nice setup. And as you can see, I can actually store this one apart from the 2ME version, because that would be way much more than that. Okay, got one screen, but actually, like I said, I need 2 screens to fully use everything that I want. And then I have one party on switch, and that's what we're gonna do right now. So let's go here and press this button right here. And as you can see, I will also switch on the laptop. This is all switching on, apart from this one right here, like I said. Also, the advanced panel is switching on, and the Stream Deck is switching on. And in just a bit, you will also see me coming into that monitor. It will take some time, typically, but here you go. There you have it right there. Hello. Also here, hello. So it's already working. I'm logging into it right here. I'm not going to show that, of course. Oops, there you go. I am logged in. And yeah, I'm a vMix person, you know that. So I'm also sharing the love there still a little bit. So let's do this. Let's turn on the vMix system first. Why vMix first? I'm not going to use the GoXLR for today. So let's just not talk about that. There you go, vMix is starting up. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to remove the Stream Deck application. Just hitting quit Stream Deck right here, like so, and quit, because I don't want that. And then what I always do is that I add input and go here to color, transparent right here, hit OK, and do that one more time. And the reason why I'm doing that is that I'm using this for lower thirds, and then at least I know that everything will be fine. I'm gonna switch on external, so that it will be available right there on GFX9. And let's show you what it looks like. So if I hit here, add input, title, just pick one that I like. For example, this one right here. I'm not going to change anything. And I'm going to hit overlay. And this overlay is also coming right there. And I can also show you that on 19, so if I press this one, 19, you can also see the what is it, key as well. So that is fantastic right there. So that's working already. And next to that, of course, I want to add the ATEM switcher. So that is there. It will take about 2-3 seconds to load. 1, 2, boom, there it is. I'm going to add media, making sure that I have a backdrop, and I know that I have that in the download here. Stills, let's just get these two, or maybe the first one only, and let's get that one right. Right there, and boom, you now can see that it's there on the media player. Now comes the cool part, is that if I also then turn on wait a sec. If I now also turn on the companion software, a lot will be available to me, which is really cool. So first and foremost, I now can switch between, I can now, for example, if I want to add SuperSource is not on this row, but I do know that it's behind the 11. So I'm just going to press twice here, hit cut. So now I am here. You have a nice SuperSource, and I can actually now change this to say, I want to go to a full screen on 1. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to full screen on 2. I'm going to go back. I want to have a third box if I like. I want to have a fourth box if I like. Go back, and that is all possible. And if I want to add, for example, this headline right here, I can make that happen. The way that I can make that happen is that I think that I have it available on DSK1. So I will check that. Going to SuperSource to DSK1. That is not correct. So I will be adding the fill source as an GFX9 and the key source to 19. And now whenever I press this one right here, you will see that it will be popping up on the program out, which is fantastic. But what is even more cool is that I can also remove this one right here. I can go to the SuperSource that I had right here. So let's go back to the SuperSource. Moving, I think that this is the wrong one. So here you got the SuperSource. And for example, if I want to talk about who this person is, I can just make sure that I can go from, for example, this one to camera 1. So I'll just hit camera 1 here. And once I do that and I tie in the DSK right here, then you will see that it automatically pops up with the lower third, which is fantastic. Well, this is in a very nutshell what you can do with this. I will definitely talk about more possibilities here. I love this advanced panel. I love that I have the Stream Deck. I am still considering to add this Cargo device for the 2ME because yes, I can switch to the 2ME, but it's not really what I want, right? So maybe I'm gonna add that small blue setup as well. But tell me what you think. Let's go back to the live show. All right, so that was the video that I created earlier today. I thought it would be cool to just focus on that video and also to give you some time to ask some questions. And I did see some questions, so I will definitely go into that. The first question, and I think that's a very good remark, and I get it, but it's not true, is what Raoul is saying. So you just add the laptop as an input showing vMix with the HDMI to SDI converter. The answer to that question, Raoul, is no. Unfortunately, that is not the case. What actually is happening is that I'm using a laptop, and actually one thing that I really strongly advise to everybody who wants to run vMix on a laptop is whatever you do, check for two very important components. That is that there is an NVIDIA video card in there. So a dedicated video card from NVIDIA, not a AMD or something else. No, NVIDIA, because that vMix is optimized to use NVIDIA. Then the second thing that I always recommend if you want to use a vMix on a laptop is to have at least a Thunderbolt port on it. Thunderbolt 4 is now the current one. Go for that one. Reasoning behind that is that you might need that for external cards. Now, in this particular question that you just had about can you add the laptop directly to from vMix directly to the HDMI port? Yes, that is possible. You can connect it via a HDMI to SDI converter, definitely, but for the lower thirds that I've showed you with the transparent backdrop, you do need to have what we call key and fill, and I can basically I can explain it to you. So I can just go ahead and go to my camera here. Let me see if that is possible. Stop screencasts. Let's go into NDI camera. Make sure that it works. So what I'll do is that I will go to my camera, and the audio will not be perfect, but I will definitely show it to you what I mean. So, all right, so let's go to this. All right. So let me remove the other microphone. But there you go. Okay, so Raoul, for you, especially for you. So what you see here is the output that comes from vMix. But vMix is actually doing that via an external card. So if I click on this arrow and on external card, then you see that it actually is pointing, let me focus, to the Ultra Studio HD right here. And it has an alpha channel, pre-multiplied alpha channel. That is really important because what I'm doing is that I'm actually having a Thunderbolt cable going from my laptop to the back of this unit right here, this one right here, and you see it coming back right here. Now, but it's not only one channel, it's actually two channels. So for example, this is channel 9. So if I push that one to program, this is channel 9. That is a fill channel. So this is what you see. But underneath it, there is also information on what needs to be transparent, what not. So in this case, this should all be transparent. And this should be not transparent, or at least this part, I think, on top of my head, should be a little bit transparent, but not a lot. And how can I see that? It's actually that I can also go to channel 19. So this is channel, it's not focus. So this is channel 9. And if I then hit shift and go to 19, I'm going directly to production. This is not what you need to do, but to simplify, this part is white, which means that it's absolutely not transparent. This part is gray. It's a little bit grayish, which means that it's a little bit semi-transparent. And this black is totally 100% transparent. So that is the way that it's all taken care of. So I hope that was helpful for your understanding. Let's go back. All right. So that is everything that I think that I wanted to show you about key and fill. Of course, I explain a little bit more to you in a more in-depth video, but basically this is roughly it. Eric says, how and when do you decide to use Stream Deck controls for a particular gig? That's a fantastic question, Eric. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, I would definitely use the advanced panel as much as possible. The reasoning behind it is that the advanced panel makes it very easy to adjust if something is happening at an event. So typically what I'm actually saying, to say it a little bit differently, it depends on in how much of the event do you know, which is what is standard and what is ad hoc. So if you, for example, a good example is this show, we always start with a countdown. Then we always start with a leader. Then we also always start with the main camera. And after a few seconds, we have the lower third. That is all programmed in. And I think that that's also what I want the Stream Deck to use for. So if there are several things like macros that you always use, that you want to have very close at your fingertips, then that is a good suggestion. On top of that, the Stream Deck that I have is actually connected to Companion, and not with the Stream Deck software, but go with Companion software, which means that on one single button push, I can not only connect to the ATEM switcher, I can also connect to, for example, the X32 audio interface, but I can also switch vMix if I like, all in the same one single button press. So if that is something that you always need to do every single time, then I would definitely use Stream Deck for that. For the animations with the Super Source, I also like to use Stream Deck, or maybe also Mix Effect, for example, where I am now choosing specifically for Stream Deck because, like I earlier said, is that this is all wired this is a wired network that is, well, basically one network that is not going to the outside world, so it's really safe, and that is really strongly something that I really strongly believe in. Hence, I'm using the Stream Deck with that Companion software. Otherwise, I would happily use the Mix Effect. It always depends on where you want to use it for. So I still use the ATEM Mini Extreme, for example, but that's for very small setups. And this is for the bigger ones, the bigger conies, so to speak. Eric says Thunderbolt out to Ultra Studios, pretty neat, rock solid key field. Definitely, it's really a professional way of doing it, and it's also something that, well, basically just works. By the way, did you see that I'm actually? But you didn't see that maybe because I did it very quickly. But the way that I've created my button layout is that I'm actually using 6 cameras. Then I have predefined one for a laptop. Then I have one predefined for the vMix output for low thirds and playout, and I have one for the HyperDeck. And on the other side, I'm using 16 to 20 for technical outputs. The reason why I'm doing that is not that I need that for a gig, but I'm needing that for what I want to do with you guys. I want to really go very much in depth into the ATEM world again. I really talk about every single component separately, and like if you watch maybe 12 videos or so, you will exactly know what I do during a gig, and therefore you can just pick and choose what you like. So that is basically something that I do specifically for TechCondo, not so much for a gig. Niels is asking, could you hook up a joystick to a PTZ? Could you hook up the joystick to a PTZ camera, or broader? Which external connectivity options does the panel have, if any? The answer to that question is that yes, you can hook up a PTZ camera, but the system is quite picky. So it does not work with BirdTalk. It does not work with PTZ optics. It does work with just a very limited amount of PTZ cameras. So basically, for me, that functionality is not there. But what you can do with the joystick is that you can predefine where you want to have floating DVEs, for example, which can be very handy and very quick, especially with if you, all of a sudden, out of the blue, need to do something that you didn't think about earlier on, so that you don't have time to build a nice setup. You can do that very quickly on the board itself. Actually, in all fairness, apart from the audio setup, you don't need the software anymore. It's literally, you can do everything apart from uploading pictures and audio. You can do almost everything on the advanced panel without the need of the software, including the creation of a macro, which is fantastic in my opinion. But indeed, I will be using, apart from the advanced panel, next to that will be a PTZ Super joystick, so that I can connect my cameras, my PTZ cameras. I am in the process, to be honest, to move away from the current model that I have to Burdock. Because everything that I have is anyway in Burdock, and I like their ecosystem a little bit more. So I will be moving more and more to Burdock coming couple of months. I coming back to a question earlier, do you have a sponsor? No, not really. I'm just doing my best to provide as much as possible the what I want to do is that I want to think about what I'm going to purchase in like a half a year from now, and just walk to that route as quickly as I can. So I'm not using sponsors for that. Plop, 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 plop. I was a bit annoyed by some how do you say that? There are some issues. Thank you for the removal, MT, for that. Yeah, so I do think that for the Superjoy, definitely, but I do know that for other cameras, it's a bit tricky. Mark has announced, he says, visiting my parents in Limburg, and we're watching to the show together. Okay, well, Mark, I'm also in Limburg, so we're in the same province at the moment, so that's awesome. Also, all right, so that is that part, I think. Yeah, all right, so if there are any questions about the setup, let me just rephrase that. So we went very fast today over all of the different components that I have, but of course I will be talking a full hour on the advanced panel for sure. I will be talking a full hour on the companion software, definitely, because I think it's really, really cool and you can do quite a lot with it. Also, the Ultra Studio, we'll talk about. Web Presenter, I will be talking about. But what I will also be talking about, and which is not there yet, is of course my audio. So that's still a thing that I'm not 100% happy with yet. But my idea is to hook up the X32 and also some wireless microphones. But the wireless microphones that I purchased in March of this year were still not there, and I just canceled the order because I wanted to use it for other stuff at the moment. But it's definitely something that we will be doing. Is the setup cat proof? No, it's not really. But I'm going to tell you how I make sure that they're not going to do that. Yeah, Eric says, so unfortunately the joystick is too picky on PTZ cameras and the events panel. But SkyEye does make it nice. Yes, absolutely, 100% agree with that statement, Eric. And yeah, definitely also looking into using the SkyEye PTZ Wisp, which I already own for that. Okay, so because of the question, is your setup cat-proof? I will tell you how I make it cat-proof by just switching the product off And I will also show you how I make sure that it's here and it actually can work, because I found that very funny. So I'm again opening up the camera to make sure that it's working. Yeah, the camera is working, and I will remove this microphone for quickly and then go to the camera. Okay. All right. So the way that I make sure that everything is fine, I'll make sure that first and foremost, I will add this chair so that the cat cannot jump on this. Then I will, of course, close off the laptop. Maybe, yep. Okay, you can see everything. This card doesn't have to be. There you go. I'm gonna quit this. Actually, I can quit everything. So I'll just shut down this. Waiting for it to really be shut down. And actually now I can only do the following. And that's the party off switch, which is this one right here. And everything is switched off immediately, like so. Let me get that done. And then what I do is that I have this piece of foam right here. I'll just add it right there so that this T-bar is safe. A bit more space there. Then one piece of plastic, another piece of plastic, and this box right here so that they can also not jump from this side. So now it's pretty much cat proof in my opinion. So that's the way that I store it throughout the normal days, which is that's the way it goes, right? Anyway, I hope that you liked it. That was a little bit of the setup that I have. So I hope that you don't have a question about the product because it's now switched off, obviously. But yeah, it's all PTZ. It's all PoE control. So it's just one single party on switch, as I call it. And then everything is fine, and you don't have to worry about anything else. So that is that. Yep. That's the way that you need to do it here, unfortunately. Yeah, that's a risk of having a studio at home, you know, right? Eric is also laughing and also making chair, laptop, power strip, foam, plastic, box. Got it. Indeed, that's the way it goes, right? Anyway, that's all that I had in store for you today. I hope that you got something of inspiration of it. Please let me know what component I should be talking about first. Let me know in the comments below. So do you want me to talk first about the 2ME switcher, or first about the advanced panel, or first about companion? Let me know what you want me to talk about first. Of course, that doesn't mean if you guys don't like ATEMs and you like me to talk about vMix or about the YOLO box, that's still going to be part of TechCondo. But I do want to move a little bit back to my favorite roots, and that's of course the ATEM, because that is also where what I really like, and also for gigs it's very important. Gigs, by the way, are not only outside, also gigs like, for example, team meetings or Zoom meetings. That's also where this can really shine. Anyway, thank you so much for your Saturday evening or morning. Really appreciate that. Next week I will be back. The week after, if I'm not mistaken, let me check my calendar. I have an issue. No. The next week and the week after, I will definitely be there still. But the week after that, I will most likely not have a TechCondo, because I will be in the US. So I will not be able to stream from there, I think. So that is what that's most likely what I'm gonna do. So 2 weeks before that. So still Next week and the week after we have a show, and then after that I have to skip one show at least. Sorry for that. Let me see. We have got companion first. Okay. Eric says advanced panel. That's somebody else. Mark wants also me to talk about the advanced panel. Okay. Issue? No. My issue is that I'm not not in the Netherlands in 3 weeks from now, Mark. Nothing to worry about. There's no issue. But there's a little. I don't know. I don't really know if I have enough bandwidth to make a show there. So that's the reason. MT says, did you think about a separate network unit with more PO power? I have not decided on which one yet, but it definitely is something that I need to look into due to the fact that I'm running into limitations on this unit. But that's okay, right? We'll figure something out. I do like that this 4U rack is really something that you can easily have in one hand and walk with. That was not the case with the HU rack that I had prior, which is a bit of a bummer because I wanted to have everything in one rack, and that's simply not possible. Okay, well, there you go. For Mark specifically, because he's in Limburg, enjoy the Fly. Fly is like a treat, pastry treat that we have here in the south of the Netherlands. Enjoy it. Have a good time there, and I hope that everybody has a fantastic weekend. I'll see you next week, same time, same channel, and I will also want to thank, of course, my dad, who is watching over Scooter. And I know for a fact, and you guys don't know that, but whenever I stop the show and start with the leader, my dad immediately comes with a Scooter to me, so then all hell breaks loose. Which is totally fine with me, but that's the way it goes. Hey, have a fantastic weekend. Bye-bye.